Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. I know it's been a bit, and I know it's been a very sad, what month did we just go through? A sad April. I did burn some candles, and I intended to review a couple of them. So one of the candles that I burned this month that I wanted to review badly was Lily of the Valley from Homeworx, which is kind of an OG fragrance. It's definitely not new, but I had never burned it before, and it really deserves a review all by itself. However, because I did not do that this month, I'm just gonna go ahead and review it today as I talk about my empties for the month. And I'll just make sure to indicate it in the notes and everything so that for posterity, if you're looking for Lily of the Valley by Homeworx review, I'll try to bookmark it and whatever so that you can just watch that, because really I do have quite a bit to say about this candle. And then I also wanted to review a candle from Glossier, actually, that I burned as well. This is actually a makeup company, but as many of these luxury makeup companies do, they have a couple little luxury 8-ounce candles. I found this one at Marshall's, it looks like, and I burned it, and I wanted to do a review on this one too because I also loved this candle. So we're just gonna do a little review today. And then I do have a couple here that I actually did do reviews on, along with some wax melts. So I will talk about what I did not talk about this month, which is the little things that I have been burning. I'm gonna apply my microphone, turn it on. Actually, it was not on. Oh, give me a second. I really should edit all of this out, but it's not gonna be that kind of video, if you know what I mean. All right, let's see if that helps a little bit. Microphone is on now. All right. So just a little bit more of an apology. I have entered a part of my life where just in my lifestyle, I am very rarely home. And I wish that I was, because I have a beautiful home. But I'm a girl who has multiple gigs going at all times. And for most of my life, I have always had a primary gig that was either academic or was something that allowed me to work from home a lot. So while I had all of those other gigs, my primary one still gave me a really big chunk of time that I was just home. And it was very easy for me to burn candles, and I have been burning candles my whole life. Unfortunately, right now, and I do think it's fairly temporary, I have a lot of gigs and a lot of primary gigs that are away from the home, which means that I feel like I just come home to sleep and that's it. Unfortunately, that means that it's not great for candle burning, and so I apologize. I am going to try to keep this channel going because I do think that this lifestyle shift is temporary, and I'm still able to do a little bit of burning on the weekend, if on a blue moon I come home and I still have some amount of time before I need to retire for bed, I'll light a candle. My beloved Boston Red Sox are now on TV almost every night, and I have an MLB package, which means that I'm watching a lot of baseball. I am coming home. I literally come home so that I can watch a baseball game. So I am finding that with my baseball games, I can light a candle and get a couple hours out of it in the evening. But it's just not quite what it was, where I would be at home for 6-7 hours at a time and could just burn and burn and burn, It's just kind of not the case. So at any rate, that kind of takes into account or explains to you why it is that I know that my content has dwindled quite a bit. I'm still gonna keep it going, and I'm still here. But that's it. Also, it doesn't help that every candle company, it's just sad, sad, sad right now. Is it just me? I feel like no candle company is doing anything right now, with maybe the exception of Yankee Candle, weirdly. Yankee Candle doesn't really have that many releases compared to Bath & Body Works, for instance, or even Homeworx. But Yankee Candle seems to be making a lot out of a little right now, And if it weren't for Yankee Candle, I just don't know if I would have I wouldn't have bought any like new candles the last few months. Like, it's crazy. I even went to Bath and Body Works yesterday because I knew that the summer candles, or at least the first wave of them, had come out. So I made it my business to go and look and smell, and I walked out with nothing. I was amazed at how sad Bath and Body Works is. Oh my gosh. And I do have a Bath and Body Works rant. Should I just get to it now or should I get to it later? Let's just do it now. Like, what is going on? I do not remember in recent memory a sadder Bath and Body Works like 5-6 months. I just haven't. Like, I can't remember one. And here we are on the cusp of Mother's Day, which actually I think is a big holiday for Bath and Body Works. And they've got like nothing that's like marketed or branded. The only thing that they've got is that like sweetest song, which admittedly is beautiful packaging, beautiful colors, beautiful Mother's Day. Yes, okay, fine. But like outside of that, I just feel like they don't really have anything. Yes, they do have that kind of like Disney-fied, you know, tinted glass mini collection that does have like the freshly picked lilac or freshly whatever cut lilacs, you know, which is a standby, of course, for Mother's Day. But like, it's got a lot of other stuff in it either too. Like, I just feel like Bath and Body Works usually does more for Mother's Day, right? They have a lot of people coming into the store for Mother's Day, a lot of men coming into the store. They really do not have a good collection out there that looks like it's oriented toward generic and stereotypical mothers. I suppose the positive thing is, you know, there's a lot of weirdness in there, you know, and if your mother's has strange preferences like me, maybe, you know, you could find something, but it's just not standard. It's not standard. And honestly, walking into Bath and Body Works was like walking into a time capsule or something. Like, I walked in and I don't know how many times I said to myself as I passed something, how is that still on the floor? How is that still on the floor? I feel like Bath and Body Works has much quicker turnover in terms of their product offerings. And like, there's stuff on the floor right now that has been there since like January, pretty much untouched. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. If it's intentional, it's not a good look. You know what I mean? It looks like nobody's buying anything. And I don't know if that's the case or not. So I thought, by the way, Kent has new videos out on the new candles, which is there's a taffy candle and there is a sugar cone candle. I did smell both of those. They smell fine. They really do. I think if you're a gourmand person, you would be happy with both of them. I can't say that they're like groundbreaking. I don't know that they're really doing anything out of the box in terms of a gourmand candle. Looks like a rehash of a lot of things that they've done in the past. And those candles actually weirdly smell very similar to each other. But they smell good. They smell good. And right now the bar is so low for Bath and Body Works that I guess we're so happy that we've got 2 new candles and they're gourmands, right? I haven't watched Kent's videos and I don't know if he talks about how sad Bath and Body Works has been or gives any kind of an explanation or a conjecture as to why it's been bad. My conjecture, and I've been thinking about it, there are 3 options that I can think of, and I'm going to deliver them to you in the order of least likely to most likely, okay? Number 1, least likely, is they had a major mix-up, or they had a major change-up in their corporate office, and they had enormous turnover and maybe a crisis, and lost like half of their development staff. Okay. Yes, I think this is least likely, but it's a possibility. I mean, it just looks like nobody's driving the bus right now at all. Like, they have no idea where they're going next. there's just a complete dry up of creativity. By the way, now may just have been my Bath & Body Works store, but in my Bath & Body Works store, in the front of the store, there are shelves that are completely empty. Empty. They do not have any product on them at all. And we're not talking like a back shelf here. We're talking front shelf. I don't get it. I mean, it just looks like even when things are selling out, they're not being replaced with a new product. Like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe like half of, like I said, the development team just quit, and then they had to replace. And I mean, this may have happened even a couple months ago, and now just with the lag of the development, like we're just hitting that spot right now, and it's going to get significantly better in a couple months. But right now we just kind of have no man's land and treading of water. I don't know. That's the first option. Second option is that honestly, Bath & Body Works was just over it. And they're like, maybe it was budgetary matters, whatever else. They're just like, we are totally going to phone this year in. We're just totally phoning it in. We're just going to give them nothing this year and see if we can make that work. Instead of giving them like 17 different collections, let's just do 2. Just keep them on the floor for 7 months. And maybe that'll be fine. We'll try to make them look good. And that's just going to be it. Like, we just need an off year, and we're calling it an off year, like right now. So I guess the second choice or the second option is that this is intentional and they know that they're phoning it in, but they've planned that for some reason. And I don't know what that reason is. Like I said, I still think it's a pretty bad look for some of us who, I mean, I haven't been in a Bath & Body Works store for a month and a half, maybe 2 months. I don't want to walk in 2 months later and see the exact same floor set that I saw 2 months ago. Like, Bath & Body Works just isn't that kind of store. There are candle companies that have a much slower rate of newness, and that's fine. That's like their shtick, right? Bath & Body Works has to constantly be new, and it's a fairly reasonable price point that's just built into their model. So when they're not offering that, it just looks really, really bad. It looks like they're failing at their own program. Yeah? All right, third option, and this is, I think, the most likely. The most likely is that they thought that the collab, especially with Disney, was going to go much better than it did. And it hasn't. Which is to say that all the floor sets that we're seeing still on the floor is because they haven't sold. And they were supposed to sell. And because they were supposed to sell, they're in a space where they don't really want to put it all in the back and semi-annual it. And so maybe there were scheduled collections that just have not gone out because they expected, for instance, the Disney collection to sell down more than it actually did. I don't know. There was an internal memo that went out within the first 3 weeks of that Disney collection that said, in bold letters, there will be no further extensions of this Disney collection, signaling something kind of opaque about the fact that there may have been scheduled extensions of it with maybe different princesses or a villains collection or something like that. And it seems like the memo was like, this is the end of Disney, full stop. So that kind of would lend credence to that third option of just things are not selling on the floor that they thought were going to sell. I mean, there's a tropical collection that doesn't seem to be selling very well. But at the same time, I mean, maybe per the earlier options, intentionally, they just said we're doing 2 collections rather than 7, or 17 or whatever. And so we're going to give you enough product to last you for 3 months. This tropical collection is just going to be out on the floor for 3 or 4 months, Disney's just going to be on the floor for 3 or 4 months, basically up until fall or whatever else, their first wave of fall candles. We haven't even really seen that many summer candles yet, which seems odd in May, given the way that the retail the retail calendar is so expedited, I feel like we would have seen a whole lot more summer candles at this point. And we're just seeing like Summer Boardwalk and Surf Shop, and it just seems like a very initial first wave. Whereas I feel like that first wave maybe should have come out in like April at some time, like early April or something. Like we're a month behind. I don't know. Maybe stuff is just not selling that they thought was going to sell. Whether that's the case or not, or whether it's intentional to the consumer, it looks like people aren't buying shit. And like I said, it's a bad look. So I guess I would say to Bath & Body Works, if you really did plan to have these collections sit on the floor as long as they have, intentionally, rethink that for next year. Because to us as consumers, number one, we're bored. Number two, we just assume that your product isn't selling anymore, which makes us even less likely to try new things from this store. Makes us less likely to come into the store, because why bother, right? We're knowing that there's going to be like just bullshit Disney stuff. It's not even the fun accessories. It's just like the body care that nobody cares about, you know? Those fragrances were not that great. They're everyday luxuries. They really put a lot of effort into their new those sprays, the dupes of the expensive perfumes. And it was cool for like 2 months. But now they've kind of like all gone in on that, and I don't know that people are buying them anymore. Again, Bath & Body Works seemed to be kind of Johnny come lately. Like they came to that dupe wave, that consumer wave, a little late, when the wave was already breaking toward the shore. And now it looks like they've like put this huge emphasis on something that's kind of already like has been. Like people are over it at this point, right? I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to belabor this anymore, but like, I don't know what to say. I mean, it just seems really, really bad on the part of Bath & Body Works. Really bad. And even the quote unquote new candles that they've given us the last 5 months haven't been very good. They've been extremely lackluster. They don't seem to be thoughtful at all, let alone well executed and performing well. So really terrible. I do want to admit that I haven't been watching a whole lot of candle videos. I mean, I have my like favorites that I try to keep, you know, alert to. It seems as though Homeworx isn't really doing a whole lot right now either. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like they're kind of asleep at the wheel. I don't burn Goose Creek, so I can't speak to them. It does seem like Goose Creek isn't really doing a whole lot either. Kringle is just being Kringle, God bless. I really have nothing to say about that. Like, it's just, for me and my money, it's a disaster, and I'm waiting for that company to figure out what the hell they're gonna do with their identity, with the quality of their candles, with the vessels of their candles. I'm waiting for them to just either hit rock bottom and then turn it around, or just figure themselves out. And right now, they're just not figured out, so I'm not buying from Kringle at this time. But even like Marshall's, sad. TJ Maxx, sad. Everything's sad right now. Why is everything sad? Bath & Body Works, we really need you to step up right now. And even Bath & Body Works is sad. Which makes me wonder if it is like a cyclical business thing that's affecting all candle companies. And I don't know why that would be, because we haven't had any major shock, you know, I mean, knock on wood yet. All right, let's talk about some of the things that I burned. Disaster of a candle from Target. This was called Alpine Santal, and I actually got this during the holiday season because it smells so lovely. It's kind of a cashmere fresh soapy with some amount of like cinnamon and spice, and it's just really, really nice. It's beautiful, and I was hoping for it in January, but I burned it like 3 or 4 times, and it's like a triple wick in my guest bathroom and could get nothing out of it. Target, I'm over it. I'm over it with you. I keep going back to this well periodically, and no, it's a no. I did also burn some wax melts, or melt some wax melts from Target as well. I got it on clearance. It is Cerulean Surf and Sea, which smelled so amazing on cold. Sea glass and beach lily. Oh, just divine. It's an aquatic floral and it's stunning. It was in this beautiful blue color right here. Yeah. Wow, that's good. I mean, it's like a briny, authentic ocean with a beautiful, fragrant, sweet, authentic lily. Oh, it's just gorgeous. But then when I melted it, it had like negative strength and throw. I think it literally took fragrance out of the atmosphere. I don't know what to say. And then when I hovered over it with my like nose basically in the wax, getting the blue on the tip of my nose, I wasn't smelling the freshness and the vibrancy that I had smelled on cold. So again, I don't know what to say. Target is just a no for me. It's amazing how many candles they have on the floor, given how terrible they all are. Whoever their like candle staff is, development team, like they just need to fire everyone and maybe just stop making like 70% of the candles they are now making. Truly 70% of them. But you know, maybe it's because I assume they want to make good candles, but maybe their mindset is more like Marshalls and TJ Maxx, where it's just like, this is a decor piece. It's really just about how this candle looks like on your, you know, on your little end table in the living room or something, you know? Like maybe all they care about is the vessel, in which case like the candle is just an afterthought. And the only thing that you would want people to do is just lift it up and be like, what a beautiful looking candle and smelling candle. They want it to smell good on cold, but they like don't care about how it actually performs. I mean, I guess that would make sense of why it is that Target does these kinds of things, right? I did do a pretty in-depth review of Voluspa Foraged Wildberry, which is a candle that I bought during the holiday season, I think probably from like Bloomingdale's or something. This is their shallow tin. I believe it's about 12 ounces and it's got a triple wick on it. You do need to burn it for a pretty good amount of time, even with the triple wicks, because the diameter here is pretty large. Like it's larger than a Bath and Body Works candle, for instance, and it's extremely shallow. I've spoken about this before. I would love for their diameter to get a little bit smaller and to get a little bit of depth in the tin, because by the time that you actually like get it to pull out all the way around, like you really only have 2 or 3 burns that you can do with that kind of a shallow size. Whereas if it was narrower and deeper, then it would pool more quickly and you would get more burns out of it because you wouldn't have to burn it for like 8 hours to get that, you know, pool. Anyway, I'm nitpicking. I'm super grateful for these shallow tins and the multiple wicks because, as we all know, Voluspa needs a multiple wick. This Foraged Wildberry was marketed, I believe, for fall, and it's this beautiful like cranberry kind of color. And I apologize, I don't have the notes here, but for my money, this is a very tart, sour, like currant cranberry kind of fragrance with a good amount of fresh and vibrant green. And for me, the green goes herbal and perhaps even a little mint-like, as in a mint with berries. And because of that vibrant greenness in it, I think you could get away with burning this at other times, not just in the fall. For me, I burned it in like April, in late March, early April, and it was perfect. Because it still had that kind of robust, deep, dark jamminess of the, you know, sour currant cranberry, which still seemed a little muted, not quite like fragrant strawberries are just starting to, you know, bloom and flourish or something like that. So we're not like in the early spring yet, you know, but the fragrant green, herbal, and mint-like qualities to it did make it a little bit fresher and a little bit springier than anything that I would think about burning in the fall. So this is either an all-season candle or frankly one that would be great as a transition from winter into spring. And I thought especially for a Voluspa candle, it performed fairly well. I kept it for all of its existence in my big master bathroom, which filters into my big master bedroom. I usually keep the French doors closed, and it definitely filled that space. It wasn't a loud fill. I mean, I think it was probably in the 6.5 region, you know, for most of its existence back there. Maybe a 7 when it was burning high at the beginning. But it definitely filled the space. And honestly, Voluspa struggles with strength and throw. So in some of these new developed candles, especially with that multiple wick, I'm very happy to see some stronger performance. This one had a stronger performance, not quite as good as the Noble Fir Garland. Noble Fir Garland is one of their recent candles that has great strength and throw, and I would even be tempted to buy it in the embossed glass. I think it's actually a very robust and well executed fragrance. This one is also well executed and fairly strong. I personally wouldn't purchase it again because I ended up not liking the fragrance as much as I wanted to. For me, Santiago Huckleberry, I like it better. It's darker, it's jammier, it's muskier. And for me, like that light green herbal mint note kind of weirded me out. I just didn't like it together with the cranberry. But I do think that it was fairly well executed with all of those elements, and I think that a lot of you out there would really, really like this candle. So it's no knock on the fragrance. It just wasn't my personal preference. So I don't think, and there's other Voluspa candles that I like better, that are up more in my wheelhouse, and are fragrances that I'm very, very fond of, that I would prefer over this one. So a success, and you may like it. I do recommend it for sure. All right, let's talk about the one lone Bath & Body Works candle that I have here. Yes, I did, because this is starting to be a little bit of a tradition for me in January, which is when the candle was originally introduced to us a few years ago. Pink, Lavender, and Espresso, which has to be in my top 5 of candles of all time, period, full stop. As everybody knows, this is very similar to their, what is it called? Marshmallow Lavender Marshmallow. Lavender Marshmallow. I think it's maybe Lavender first. Lavender Marshmallow. I didn't experience Lavender Marshmallow. It was at a time where I wasn't really buying that many Bath & Body Works candles. And to be perfectly honest, unless I had smelled it, I don't think that's a candle I would be bringing home, because I see marshmallow and I like run the opposite direction. I'm not a gourmand person, and if I look at a candle that Bath & Body Works is doing it to boot, marshmallow, like I'm not even gonna lift the lid and smell that candle. You know what I mean? So even if I had been purchasing from them, I don't know that I would have purchased that one. Lavender Marshmallow is actually really stunning as well. I did buy one off of eBay after everybody said that this was so similar. I couldn't believe it, but it is true, because the marshmallow note in that candle is caramelized and almost roasted. It's like a roasted marshmallow rather than just a fluffy sugar extravaganza, which is what makes it similar to the roastedness of the espresso beans. So I did burn that candle, and it is quite similar. I like this one better for a whole host of reasons, and I did find that the Lavender Marshmallow candle did not perform well. It dudded out halfway through, got very murky. Not that this one burns like a dream, but I have found, and the reports are that Lavender Marshmallow in all of its iterations tends to not perform well. This one at least performs decently. I don't know, like I said, that it performs like beautifully, but it generally performs better than the Lavender Marshmallow one. So that's yet another reason to prefer this particular candle, Pink, Lavender, and Espresso. Oh, for me, it's that coffee espresso note, even if it's a back note. Oh, it like kills me and gives me life at the same time. It slays me in my spirit. You know what I mean? Oh, the push and pull of the lavender, which is like calming and aroma spa, along with the caffeine jolt, which is like everything else, you know, it's the energy and the roastiness and the gourmandiness, and then that amazing caramelized that like marries it all. It's truly lightning in a bottle. And every now and then, like when I pick up the lid and I smell it, it just, like I said, it goes into my heart, it goes into my soul, it goes into my spirit, and it just gives me life. It gives me life. So this is one of those holy grail candles for me that I will burn every January for as long as I need to. And I nursed this one. I mean, I honestly, it was this month that I finally got through it, from January to April, especially when I'm in like a blue mood, or I just feel like I need something, I need to pick me up. On my birthday, I burned it. Like it's become like that candle that just sits on my ledge for all of those special moments. I'm probably not gonna burn it again until next January to keep it special and seasonal, but oh my gosh. Low key, I've said this before, low key, I resent every other candle in the world. I would just rather be burning this all day long. You know what I mean? It didn't burn great. This is this year's iteration, by the way, with that like seersucker pattern on it, because I will probably purchase one every year just to see, will this be the one that performs like a dream? And then I'll like stock up on it. It performed decently. As you can see, it was kind of moderately sooty. It licked the edge there on that side. It wasn't filthy though. It wasn't filthy. And I have to be honest that even like at the midway point or the last third where it started like burning really low, up to but not quite puny wicks, even then I would burn it and it would give off strength and throw. It really would. I mean, even here in the open concept area of my house, like I could still get a strong like 5.5, 6 out of it, you know? And I could get more than that in the back bedroom. I don't know that it's a back bedroom fragrance per se. I much prefer it in the front part of my house. But you know, I'll take it. I'll take a 6 in the front part of my house. I just will. Just a fantastic candle all the way around. Really needs no introduction or preamble, which is what I just gave you. But if you've ever not burned it, what are you doing? Like, you're missing out. Please get one. And I know that it's on the floor because I saw it yesterday. And I thought to myself, friend, are you really the best smelling candle in this store right now? Even with all the things that they've got going on here? Oh my gosh. If Yankee Candle is doing a little with a lot, I mean, a lot with a little right now, Bath & Body Works is doing a little with a lot. That is for sure. All right, let's talk about the one candle that I've never burned before, and this is kind of a mini review of it. This is Lily of the Valley from Homeworx. So I'm not like a Homeworx historian, so I may get this wrong, but my sense is that this candle originally came out very early on in the Homeworx trajectory. There was this, it seems as though there was this amazing floral collection, this floral moment, as it were. And Harry Slatkin just gave a collection that is still giving. It is the gift that keeps giving. Every single one of those floral candles in that collection are well above average and have continued to perform above average. I mean, they just land. I was watching some reviewer. It may have been Melanie, Mr. Kong's mom, or somebody who said that Harry Slatkin actually doesn't like to do straight up florals. At first she was like, he doesn't do florals. And I was like, I beg to differ. He does florals amazingly and he does them all the time. What are you talking about? Like, it's ridiculous. But then whoever this reviewer was, they clarified and they're like, he doesn't like to do straight up florals. He likes to do floral conceptuals and he especially likes to do fruity florals. And I do agree with that. He does prefer to do a floral that has a fruity finish of some kind. And he does those so well, so well. But what this collection demonstrated is that he does florals so well, full stop. Full stop. Whether they are mixtures of other things, whether they are conceptuals, whether they are fruity finishes, whether they are fruit candles with a floral finish, it doesn't matter. His florals are extravagant. They are unique. and they perform well. Oh my gosh. It's like that golden era collection with like wisteria vines and all of those. Anyway, Lily of the Valley, I think, was in that collection, and I've never actually burned it. So I saw this at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. Oh, it looks like it's Marshall's, and look at that. It was even on clearance. I got it for $10, and I was like, you know, I've never tried this. It sounds boring, you know, because Lily of the Valley is kind of a boring flower. I'm sorry. I hope that that doesn't hurt your feelings if Lily of the Valley is your favorite, you know? Because it's white and like, is this just gonna be a stupid white floral? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry. This label is blocking the notes and I just wanna make sure that I've got them right. Lily of the Valley fragrance notes are Lily of the Valley, hyacinth, jasmine, and then something, green leaves, some adjective with an ing. Spring green leaves? Maybe spring green leaves, I don't know. Yes, it smells good, but I'll tell you what, this is one of those candles that smells even better burned. Oh, so great when that happens. Because honestly, like we buy candles in the store that we think smell good. And then when we get home, we want them at least to smell like they smell on cold, you know? And often they don't. And then there are other candles, and I've said this before, I lose sleep sometimes, just tormenting myself. There are candles out there that don't smell that great on cold. And we never buy them because they don't smell good on cold. And actually, if we did buy them and we did burn them, they so much improve and open up once they're burned, you know? And I lose sleep over it because I know that there are so many candles that I've passed on in the store that if I had just burned, I would have seen how brilliant the candle is. You know what I mean? I guess that's why good candle reviewers will always be necessary and wonderful, you know? Because there are people out there, this is what the internet exists for, who did buy that candle and can vouch for the fact that it does improve, you know? At any rate, I hemmed and I hawed over this even at $10 because I'm like, I just think this is boring, but it does smell like a nice, like white floral. It's a little underwhelming, fine, you know. I brought it home and I loved this candle. I loved every aspect of this candle. Yes, it is like a dewy, but also very familiar white floral, you know? Yeah, it's got a lot of jasmine in it, and he does overuse jasmine a little bit. I think a lot of candle companies overuse jasmine, especially lately. There's a lot of green in this candle, and I don't know that I appreciated it fully when I was smelling it on cold. But once I burned it, the green came out even more, and that's actually very unusual because a very authentic green botanical note often really struggles to amplify. Once it's burned, it often kind of sinks down into the candle and doesn't quite have the same sense once you burn it, and especially if it's trying to compete with like a jasmine note or something like that. This is one of those very interesting and rare candles that becomes greener once you burn it, which I love because I do love my greens, you know? I love the greeneries. And I love my florals with a very good amount of greenery. And so it was a beautiful surprise to find out that the green really took over this candle in a way that competed, if not really balanced out, the jasmine, the high white floral elements in it. I kept this for its entire existence here in the open concept, admittedly in a hurricane. By the way, this is a triple wick. This is not a quadruple wick. I have found that the candles in this golden era, they perform no matter what. It doesn't matter if they're a triple wick. It doesn't matter if they're a quadruple wick. It just doesn't matter. And I have said before that I think the number of wicks probably matters less than you would think for a lot of different candles. If it's gonna perform, it will perform, whether it has 2, 3, or 4, or 5, or 17 wicks. Conversely, there are candles that will not perform, and it doesn't matter if you give them 17 wicks. And in fact, that's just gonna ruin it because you're gonna smell the soot and the carbon residue, right? By the way, this does smell a bit sooty, even though it had very little soot to it. I think probably toward the end it was burning low, so it's smelling a little corrupted at this point. I burned it the entire time in the open concept area of my house in a hurricane. And I would say that the candle got up to about a 6.5 in this space, which I will take. I heard Harry Slatkin say once, it was like on a video, you know, like one of his promotional videos, or he was interviewed or something. And he was like, I don't understand why people need to have candles that be that strong. They should actually not be strong. Like, you should walk into a space and not be like bowled over by a candle sitting in the corner. There's like nothing, I don't know if he said it, but it was like, how uncouth, you know? How tasteless to have some candle that's overwhelming your space, that hits you when you walk in the door. And at the time I was like, nice attempt at justifying your low strength and throw candles. Some of us want to have strong candles. Like, you can call me uncouth all day long. I want a candle that makes my walls bleed. Thank you very much, you know? And I still maintain that for the most part. But when I came into my space and I smelled this candle, I thought to myself, this is at least one candle where I am so grateful that it does exactly what Harry Slatkin is talking about. This candle was so authentic smelling, so green, so just flawless in its execution, so pristine. And the fragrance output on it was so perfect that when I walked into this space, I thought that there was a bouquet of flowers somewhere in the room. Like, it was that subtle, that soft, that sweet, that gentle, and the fragrance itself was so authentic that I would absolutely have thought that there were legitimate flowers in the room. And I thought to myself, how lovely is that? For you to light a candle and for you to smell it and experience it as not a candle. There are actually very few candles that have that kind of presence to them. They all kind of mimic, like art, they do kind of mimic something. If it's a floral, or if it's an oceanside experience, or if it's a banana bread or something like that, it's mimicking something, yes? But for the most part, you know that it's a candle. You know, if somebody were to come in, they'd be like, that candle is amazing. They know immediately that it's a candle. There are very few candles that are so authentic and so gorgeous and even and gentle and subtle in their output that they would, in fact, mislead you into thinking they were the real thing. Friends, this candle does that. It really does. I give this candle extremely high marks, and yes, I would repurchase it again. Yes. It is a very fragile botanical experience, but for the fact that it's fragile and botanical, it really has impressive output and performance. So I just think it's fantastic, especially for an early spring kind of experience in your home. 100%. One of my favorite floral candles now from Harry Slatkin. It doesn't quite have my heart or get under my skin the way that Tiare Sunrise does, for instance. And I actually kind of like the Jasmine Rain one a little bit better. That aquatic freesia note really has my heart too, in a way that Lily of the Valley or Jasmine doesn't quite. But gosh, what an amazing floral candle. And if I can say it again, what an amazing floral collection that Slatkin gave us some 10 years ago or whatever else it is that, like I said, continues to give. What a gift. Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you so much. All right, so anyway, Lily of the Valley, even if you're not really a floral person, and I'm kind of on the fence with florals, I need them to have a good amount of green in them or fruit in them or something else. but I loved this candle. So even if you're not a floral person, I think you would really enjoy it. And because it's so subtle and so gentle, I think that it's one that would work well in whatever space you've got and whatever your scent preferences are. So fantastic. I also I got this from Marshall's. Marshalls and TJ Maxx have gotten very sad lately, but they have had weirdly some luxury candles come through the door in the last few months. Specifically, I've seen a lot of Capri Blue candles actually, Volcano, but some of their like lesser knowns too, which I think are actually much better than Volcano in a lot of ways. This is a candle I picked up from the luxury, well, I don't know that it's a luxury, but it's a makeup company called Glossier. And you may not know about Glossier. I'm not a makeup person either, but I do think that Glossier started to have their big claim to fame. I think it was Glossier lip glosses. And I think that's why it's called Glossier, is that originally they just did lines of lip glosses, and their lip glosses were very, very popular and premiumly priced. And then since the glosses were so huge, that I think they went into other aspects of makeup and they did perfumes. And so after the glosses, then they became known for their signature fragrance. It was their first fragrance, and it's called You, Glossier You. My little sister is obsessed in this perfume. She like smelled it in a magazine like 6 or 7 years ago when it was just becoming like the rage. Maybe it wasn't 6 years ago. Maybe it was less than that. Maybe it was like 4 or 5 when it came out for the first time. And it's like this kind of blush colored ombre vessel. You've probably seen it if you know perfumes. And it's been duped a lot because it's one of those it perfumes right now. So Glossier You then became huge. So Glossier as a company is mostly known for their lip glosses and now for their perfume that is You. And they, as many makeup companies did, you know, especially if they do like fragrances, they started doing some little candles on the side. And they don't have that many candles. They're 8-ounce soy blends. And I didn't even know about them until I saw this one at Marshall's. And then I was like, oh, you do candles. Well, how many candles do you have? You know? So on their website right now, they have 3 candles. This one right here, which is called Sandstone. They have a candle that is You. It's their fragrance, their premium, you know, Vanguard fragrance You. So they do have it in candle form. And then the flankers are this one here, this Sandstone. And they also have an orange blossom candle as well, which I would be very interested in because I do love orange blossoms so much. And the way that this one was executed, I'd be very interested in that candle. Unfortunately, both You and orange blossom are sold out on the website right now. I don't know if they're going to re-release them. Sandstone is not sold out on the website. On the website, I think it's probably a $45, $46 price point, something like that, which is fairly standard for, you know, a luxury candle company or you're not candle company, but a luxury like makeup brand, you know, especially when they're like duping their fragrances, etc. But look, it is really pretty. Look at that glass with their seal, their Glossier seal here. And it's a single wick and it's a very plant-based formula. There's a lot of soy. As you can see, it's kind of all dragging down the sides of it, etc. I smelled this one and I was like, yes, intoxicating. This reminded me so much of Palo Santo from Bath & Body Works, and specifically Palo Santo Sage. And this is actually an elevated version of Palo Santo Sage. And I do love Palo Santo and Sage from Bath & Body Works. I adore it. It gets a little brassy though, and a little hard to take, even at its minimal strength and throw output. This candle, in my opinion, is the better version. It is really, truly the upscale version of Palo Santo and Sage from Bath and Body Works. If you love Palo Santo and Sage from Bath and Body Works, you have to smell this. You just do. You do. Greg, I'm speaking to you right now. Greg from Calgary, my candle brother. You must smell this candle. I'm not going to lie to you. It's an 8 ounce and it's a single wick, so you need to adjust your expectations about how it's going to perform. That said, it didn't perform terrible for an 8 ounce luxury candle. I had it always in my back bedroom because I love this scent for my back bedroom. And I don't know that it filled the space, but definitely like the closer you got to it, it was kind of giving off a 5, you know? And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. It was so gorgeous and so intimate. It's one of those candles you put by your like bedside, you know, your nightstand, whatever else, or in your amazing master bathroom when you take like an amazing bubble bath or whatever else. Oh my gosh, it's so good. The notes on this are, okay, yeah. The notes are sandalwood, clary sage, fig leaf. Those are the 3. I mean, honestly, if I saw those, I'd be like, yes. I love my clary sage. I love figs. I love leaves and any kind of wood component. This is sandalwood, but honestly, it smells, it's significantly more woody than you would expect from a sandalwood. To me, this smells like a Palo Santo for sure. Or sandalwood with some other kind of wood, an oud, something like that. Maybe even like a cedar or something. But it really does smell almost spot on for that Palo Santo sage from Bath and Body Works. It's just more complex. It's just executed better. It really is. And like I said, you know I'm a fan of Palo Santo and Sage. This is next level. It's just next level. And you know what? I don't grudge a luxury company. They're $40 and they're single wick soy-based formula. I really don't, so long as the fragrance is worth it. You've got to show me value added somewhere. If I can get the fragrance from Bath and Body Works, I'm out. For $10, no less. With 3 wicks, I'm out. You know, I have a pretty high bar when it comes to these luxury 8 ounce single wicks. I really do. But show me a good fragrance and I'll be there for it. It's a good reason to exist. I only got this one for $16.99. I would for sure get another one for $16.99. I look every time I'm at Marshall's. I don't know that I would pay $45 for it, but it was on sale. I would spend $30 on it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I love that fragrance. So just know, if you're the kind of person who likes the Palo Santo from Bath & Body Works or the Palo Santo Sage, which I think it's much more similar to, you would love that candle. Just like I said, adjust your expectations. Guys, I burned a Nest candle, but it was so tiny. Look at the tiny one. So I was in Portland. I was in Portland this month for business. And I came across a Blue Mercury store, which is like Blue Mercury. They have a brisk online business and they do like skincare and perfume and stuff like that, you know. Anyway, I ran across it. I didn't like the way my hotel room smelled, to be honest. So I changed my room once and then I was like, I think that the mustiness, like in places like Seattle and Portland, like it just rains so much. It's like, it just smells damp. So anyway, I was kind of looking for a little tiny candle to buy, you know, and they had their Nest candles on sale. I was going to say clearance because I think it was only 10% off. They were on sale because Nest is repackaging their like look of the boxes or whatever. And so they were clearancing off the, their old, design on their boxes or whatever. So I took the opportunity to buy 2 little votives for $16 a pop or whatever it was. This is Bamboo, which I've always been wanting to try. And Bamboo is like one of their like old ones. It's kind of has a cult following. Bamboo. And then this is one of their new ones, which a new fragrance, possibly for this year, Sunlit Yuzu and Neroli. So I bought this one as well, and I'm still burning it. So you'll see it in my empties for next month, but I just thought I would, talk about it. Anyway, I did burn Bamboo down. I've been burning it in my guest bathroom since I've been, home. Bamboo, I don't know. I don't like it. I would not repurchase it. I was hoping for something green, something fresh, something maybe a little bit masculine. I don't know what. This is a very soapy white floral. That's what it is. A soapy white floral. And in fact, it's so soapy, it could almost pass as a laundry fragrance. So for me, not quite what is evoked by the term or by the word bamboo, but God bless, right? I wouldn't purchase it again. It had very bad strength and throw, even with me adjusting my expectations for a votive, and it burned terrible. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was like puny wicks all the way down. Left smut all over because it's soy. I just would not burn this again. I don't know that I can, from a votive experience, I don't know that I can extend that review to the candle proper, i.e. I don't know if the candle in either the 8-ounce format or larger would burn as abysmally as this votive did, but yeah, it's a no for me. That fragrance, I don't do laundry that much, but if you do, if you like laundry fresh and you like white florals, God bless. And it seems to be very popular. This, on the other hand, is a winner. I would even think about repurchasing this, and I'm not a huge Nest fan. Oh, that's so pretty. So it says Sunlit Yuzu and Neroli. And yuzu is a citrus fruit that I don't know that much about. But for me, it's just lemon. It's a real beautiful, soft lemon. It goes a little bit candied. There's a lot of sugar in it. It's a sugary lemon rather than like a super tart one. And it's got floral back note. And it does have a soapiness on the back note too, but it's not overwhelmed with soapiness. It's overwhelmed with that bright lemon that's also soft at the same time and sweet. And I have been loving it. And the strength and throw has actually been quite good, even with a votive. And it's been burning like a dream. So I'm very happy with that one. If you see that one, that's a new one. Sunlit Yuzu and Neroli. I am loving it. I'm really liking it a lot. It's kind of a generic white floral. I don't know that it's like totally orange blossom neroli, but I do appreciate that it's something different than jasmine. And then I did have some wax melts as well. A lot of them from Chestnut Hill, which is a candle company, a small mom and pop that I've been working through. I burned this one, melted this one, which is Chestnut Hill Bloom. And it was a very nice fruity floral. And the floral was very like lavender, hyacinth, lilac. Yeah. No, not lavender. Lilac, hyacinth, lily. A little bit of a fruity finish. Very nice. Very full spring fragrance, but I didn't think the strength and throw on it was very good. And I didn't think that it improved upon being melted. It was one of those ones that had a beautiful, fragrant, authentic botanical sense that lost that sense once it was melted. So I wouldn't repurchase it. And unfortunately, it was competing with ye old English Garden from Aldi, which I was continuing to burn. Oh my gosh. Oh, I talked about it last month, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but this English Garden also has the lilac, the hyacinth, the lily, and some green, and is one of the best, like, fresh spring florals I think I've ever smelled, full stop, in this lovely, lovely, yes. Oh, it has my heart, and it filled the house. You would come in your front door and just be like, English Garden from my back bedroom. Oh my gosh. Aldi coming through. I tried this one from Chestnut Hill, Teakwood. I like the way it smells. It's kind of fresh and bright and clean without being super soapy. And then it has kind of this like vetiver-like note in it as well. Not a whole lot of wood, despite the Teakwood name. But as you can tell, I only burned one side, melted one side of it, and I couldn't smell it. I mean, it was like negative energy as well, like pulling fragrance out of the atmosphere, you know? This one was also disappointing from Chestnut Hill, Rain Puddle, which I thought was such a cute image and really kind of nice smelling. Very soapy, very florally, fresh, clean, bright, etc. I kind of had high hopes for this one, but once again, it had like, you know, negative strength and throw. So unfortunately, it was a no for me, and I only melted half of it. So there you go. If you've been following the Chestnut Hill trajectory, many of these have been pretty lackluster, at least in melt form. But there have been a couple that have been so good, in fact, that they would be like leaders in their category. So just a very uneven performance so far from Chestnut Hill, and I'm not willing to let them go. I would be very interested in trying their candles because there have been some that have just been incredible, you know? So there you go. All right, friends, I don't know how I managed to talk an entire hour after all that. I mean, I did have a couple like in-depth reviews in there. Yeah, thanks for watching if you watched, and I'm sorry that I haven't had that many videos lately. Hang with me. I'm still here. I'm still trying to burn. I've been burning 2 fantastic candles from Tuscany, if you can believe it. You know, you have to make hay while the sun shines. You have to make lemon out of lemonade, or lemonade out of lemons. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my cool here. I haven't had enough coffee. Not a whole lot going on in the candle community, but you know, we're doing some deep dives here. Aldi coming through for 1 random candle. Tuscany coming through for 2 random candles. Glossier, great little candle here. You just start to kind of like patch things together, you know, while we wait for the candle companies to get their shit together. Bath & Body Works, I'm looking at you specifically. Thanks for joining me, my friends. I'll catch you in the next one.